Hi, so you're probably wondering to yourself, what am I doing on the screen in front of you? Well, I figured I'd do this a little bit different for you today. This way it can be a little bit better for me to be able to do. So, I would like to talk about Dennis Feltham Jones, British science fiction writer. He wrote under 10 books during his writing career. The most notable is the Colossus series. Colossus was written in 1966 and The Fall of Colossus was written in 1974. Colossus and the Crab was written in 1977. And this is kind of going to be the focus of this video, the first book of the series and the film adaptation. Science fiction tends to reflect the trends in reality and play with the ideas and concepts of the time. During the 50s and 60s, technology was moving in the direction of the computer. So it was natural for science fiction to explore the what-if of this technology. Asimov explored the idea of artificial intelligence, androids and robots, resulting in the famous 3 laws of robotics. Many other writers was to write their own versions of the future with computers with varying degrees of success. It is for this reason that we come to, as he's known, D.F. Jones. 2 years before the film 2001: A Space Odyssey would come out, Jones would release the first book in the Colossus trilogy, Colossus. This book follows Charles Forbin, the creator of the Colossus Project, a computer designed to take over the defense of all weapons of the USA. The idea being that having an emotionless machine in control of their defenses, it would mean that no weapon would be fired in fear or anger or any personal reasons. The book starts with the project being completed and Colossus being activated. However, very soon Charles Forbin would be worried, as it appears Colossus is more powerful than expected, and the biggest danger, it might be thinking for itself. A further wrinkle is added when Colossus detects another machine, much like Colossus, but Russian in nature. The first thing that Colossus wants to do is to talk to it. I can say more, but I think that is the general hook of the book. To give an idea of the book, here is part of the audiobook, the exchange between the President of the USA and Forbin upon completion of the project.
As President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States of North America, let me be the first to congratulate you on an achievement unparalleled in history.
They shook hands once more, the posterity side of the President's mind uppermost. Forbin's mind was in quite a different channel. He had a very clear idea of how unparalleled the achievement was. But had the President? The President, posterity dealt with for the moment, laughed shortly.
You don't seem very excited, Forbin. Is there something wrong? Something you want?
I'd like to smoke, if you've no objection. Again the President laughed, this time with more sincerity. He turned to his desk and sat down, swinging gently from side to side in his swivel chair.
You're a strange guy, Forbin. You lift the biggest burden a man was ever called upon to carry and ask if you can smoke. You can burn the White House down if you wish, and I'll personally lend you my lighter.
Forbin fished out his pipe and began to fill it.
Sit down, man. But first fix us a drink.
The President waved Forbin towards a cabinet that once had graced the residence of the Soleil Royal in Versailles.
I'll have a scotch on the rocks since we're alone. I can't drink it in public. I'd have our distillers around my neck in no time."
Forbin poured 2 large scotches on ice into heavy cut-glass Jacobean tumblers, placed one carefully beside the president, then sat down in a low armchair, the only available seat.
For me, this is one of the most interesting books on the subject of computer control. The biggest problem with the book is the mix of what was then current technology with the idea of future technology. For instance, is that the main bulk of the interaction with Colossus is done via teletype. In modern terms, you type questions and the answers are printed out. Things like this just have to be accepted as it's a product of the times, along with the views on men and women in the workplace. Due to the success of the book, Jones turned it into a trilogy, following it up with The Fall of Colossus and Colossus and the Crab. Universal Pictures also picked up the rights to be able to make a film of the first book called Colossus, the Forbin Project. In the period between 1968 and 1978, we would receive many different views of computers in films that would go wrong. In 1968, we would have 2001: A Space Odyssey. In 1973, we would have Westworld. In 1977, we'd have Demon Seed. But I find a lot of people are unaware of the 1970 film Colossus, the Forbin Project. The film is very faithful to the book, and for me stands now as one of the great AI films of all time, easily being able to stand with those films I've just mentioned, as well as stand with The Terminator, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Saturn III, and recent films like Upgrade, Monsters of Man, Morgan, and Ex Machina. Again, the same trappings of the book follow into the feature film, and concessions will have to be made for the adaptation. I personally find the book more tense, but the film is very good retelling of the story, even if some of the characters are sidelined just because of how much the film wants to hit the same notes of the book. Here's the trailer.
This is the dawning of the Age of Colossus.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Charles Forbin. In a few moments, Colossus will address us directly.
This is the voice of world control. I bring you peace. It may be the peace of plenty and content, or the peace of unburied death. The choice is yours. Obey me and live, or disobey and die.
The frightening story of the day man built himself out of existence. Colossus, the Forbin Project.
It's making you a prisoner.
Shock, horror, suspense. Created with all the technological brilliance of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Colossus is the ultimate in sophisticated computers.
I'm going to try to convince the computer that you're my mistress, and that therefore I have to be given the opportunity to see you regularly in private. That way we can pass information back and forth. Four times a week.
Good night.
This is insane. When do you think you'll be able to attempt the Overlord?
Colossus sees all, senses all, knows all, controls all armaments and all defenses. When this emotionless creation becomes the master of man, the result is catastrophic.
The Supreme Council of the USSR has ordered, as of 2300 hours Moscow time tomorrow, the activation of an electronic brain exactly like ours, which they call God.
They built Colossus, supercomputer with a mind of its own. Then they had to fight it for the world.
My The missile has just been launched. It is heading towards the Cyan-Sibirsk oil complex.
Guardian has retaliated.
Retaliated?
It may be too late, sir.
Oh, my God.
To finish off, this is how the film starts.
Would you look this way, please?
Okay. One more.
Mr. President, all systems are activated. I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long.
No. Congratulations, Dr. Forbin. It's a marvelous achievement.
Thank you, sir. Here, here.
The limousines are right through here.
Of course, it's going to put me out of a job and put the Pentagon in mothballs, but congratulations, Dr. Forbin.
I'm quite sure that won't happen.
Listen to him. He's more relieved than anybody.
Well, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State and myself had a discussion on our way out here as to the treatment needed when we tell the country about it. And we all agree it should be simple and direct.
Yes.
Downgrade the biggest top secret in all history to plain unclassified. Now all we have to do is tell the people about it.
Thank you, sir.
Again.
Bye.
The story does continue after the cliffhanger of the film and in the books. I've only read the second book in the trilogy, which does a good job of following up the events of the first book. But I will warn you, it does retcon some of the events in build-up to the book and also changes some other details. I haven't read the third book yet, but it's on my to-do list. In 2010, Will Smith has stated interest in remaking Colossus, the Forbin Project, and as far as I know, this project is still in progress. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to D.F. Jones, the Colossus trilogy, and Colossus, the Forbin Project. It really is something that needs to be looked at if you are unaware of any of this. Thank you for your time.